Daniel and Kareem grew up only a few streets apart. Same neighborhood, same hustle. They went to the same school, graduated in the same year, started working around the same age. By their early 30s, Daniel was earning around $55,000 a year managing stock for a warehouse company. Kareem was earning close to $50,000 working in transport coordination. Their lives looked almost identical. Same city, same kind of apartment, same grocery stores, same monthly stress. Both of them often said the same thing. I need to stop living paycheck to paycheck. I need to save more money. But over the next 30 years, something slowly changed. Not in one big moment. Not because one of them suddenly became rich. It happened through small decisions, quiet decisions, the kind that do not seem important at the time. Whenever Daniel got a raise, he increased his retirement contribution, sometimes only by a small amount, an extra $30, an extra $50, nothing that changed his life overnight. Kareem did something different. Whenever he earned more money, his lifestyle became a little more expensive. He started spending more, started treating himself more often. He upgraded his car, moved into a better apartment, spent more money eating out, took more trips, started paying for things that felt normal in the moment. None of these choices looked dangerous. That is exactly why they matter. Most people do not damage their financial future with one terrible decision. They damage it with small decisions that feel reasonable. The extra subscription, the food deliveries, the little things that quietly added up. The more expensive car, the larger monthly payment, the habit of saying, I will start saving later. Years passed. Daniel and Kareem both reached 62. Both had worked for nearly 40 years. Both had experienced financial pressure. Both had difficult seasons. But Daniel had more than $480,000 saved across his retirement accounts. Kareem had less than $70,000. One of them had choices. The other felt stuck. The other had fear. One could think about retirement. The other was wondering if he would need to keep working into his 70s. This is happening to millions of people. Not because they are lazy, not because they never worked hard, but because they never understood one important truth. Making money is not enough. Keeping money is what matters. There are many people earning decent incomes. They pay their bills. They go to work. They take care of their families. From the outside, everything looks fine, but year after year and they save very little. Then one day they check their retirement account and realize they are much further behind than they expected. That is when reality hits. That is the danger of lifestyle inflation. As income rises, most spending rises too. You earn more. Then your expenses grow. You receive a raise. Then your lifestyle becomes more expensive. You tell yourself that you will start investing next year. Then next year becomes 5 years. Then 10. Then suddenly, there is not enough time left for the money to grow. That is the part many people do not understand. Retirement problems do not begin at retirement age. They begin much earlier. They begin in your 30s, your 40s. Every year that you delay matters. Every year that you wait becomes expensive, and most people do not realize it until much later. The average retirement savings in America is much lower than people think. Half of all households have less than around $90,000 saved. Half. After decades of working, after decades of earning, after decades of telling themselves they would eventually get serious. That is not enough. And deep down, most people already know it. They just do not want to face it. Because facing it means admitting that time matters. And time is the one thing nobody can get back. Most people think the reason they are behind financially is because they do not make enough money. But that is usually not the real problem. The real problem is that every time they make more money, they spend more money. That is the trap. And almost everybody falls into it. A small raise comes in. Then suddenly there is a new car payment, a bigger apartment, a more expensive phone, more nights eating out, more subscriptions, more stuff showing up at the front door. It does not feel dangerous. It feels normal. That is why it is so easy to miss. Because nobody wakes up and says, I want to ruin my retirement. It happens slowly. You make a little more, then your lifestyle gets bigger, then your bills get bigger, then you look around and wonder where all your money went. That is exactly what happened to Kareem. Every raise disappeared almost immediately. When he earned more, he spent more. When he got a bonus, he treated himself. When he paid off one bill, he picked up another. He was always moving, always working, always busy. But somehow, he still felt broke. That is a terrible feeling. Working hard every day and still feeling like you are barely keeping your head above water. A lot of people are living like that right now. From the outside, they look fine. Nice car, nice apartment, new clothes, weekend trips. But behind the scenes, they are stressed, they are tired, they are carrying debt, and deep down, they know they are falling behind. Daniel lived differently. Not because he was making a lot more money, because he had a system. Whenever he got a raise, he saved part of it first. Not all of it, just part. If he got an extra $200 a month, maybe $50 went into retirement, maybe another small amount went into savings. Then he enjoyed the rest. That is the difference. He did not wait until he had extra money left over, because there is almost never extra money left over. He paid himself first. That one habit changed everything, because money grows when you give it time. And time is where most people lose. They keep saying, I will start next year. Then next year becomes 5 years. Then 5 years becomes 10. And by the time they finally get serious, they realize they are way behind. That is when people panic, because now they have to save twice as much in half the time. That is hard, really hard. And it is why so many people reach their 50s and suddenly feel scared, not because retirement is close, because they know they are not ready. The hardest part about saving money is that in the beginning, it feels like nothing is happening. You put away $100, then $200, then maybe $300 a month. Months go by, even years go by, and when you finally check the account, the number still does not look impressive. That is where a lot of people give up, because they think, what is the point? They look at the balance and feel like they are getting nowhere. That is the mistake, because the first few years are not about getting rich, they are about building momentum. In the beginning, your money grows slowly, very slowly. That can feel frustrating, but over time, something changes. The account gets bigger. Then the growth gets bigger. Then the money starts working harder than you do. A person with $20,000 invested might make $2,000 in a good year. A person with $200,000 invested might make $20,000 in that same year. That is the power of compounding. The money starts making money. Then that money starts making even more money, but only if you leave it alone. That is where many people mess up. They start saving. They pull money out. They cash out their retirement when life gets hard. They treat long-term savings like emergency money. And every time they do that, they reset the clock. That is why Daniel kept going. Even when the numbers looked small, even when it felt slow, even when other people were spending more and enjoying more in the moment, because he understood something most people do not. The first 10 years are quiet. The real growth happens later. That is why starting early matters so much. A person who invests $1,000 at 25 can end up with many times more than a person who invests that same $1,000 at 45. Not because they invested more, because they gave the money more time. That is the part people forget. You can always make more money. You cannot make more time. And the longer someone waits, the more expensive that wait becomes. That is why so many people in their 50s feel pressure, because they are trying to catch up. They are trying to do in 10 years what they should have done in 30. That is not impossible, but it is much harder, much more stressful. And that is why the people who build wealth are usually not the smartest people in the room. They are the people who started early, stayed consistent, and kept going long after everybody else quit. A lot of people believe Social Security will save them. They think whatever they do not save on their own will somehow be covered later. That is dangerous. Because Social Security was never designed to give people a comfortable retirement. It was designed to keep people from falling into poverty. That is a big difference. For many people, Social Security only covers the basics: housing, food, utilities, a few bills. That is it. It does not create freedom. It does not create peace of mind. And it definitely does not replace decades of missed saving. That is why retirement savings matter so much. Because without savings, every unexpected expense becomes a crisis. A medical bill, a car repair, a rent increase, a family emergency. Without money saved, those things can completely throw someone off. With money saved, they are stressful, but manageable. That is the difference. Daniel understood that. He did not save because he wanted to become rich. He saved because he wanted options. He wanted the choice to stop working, the choice to slow down, the choice to help his family, the choice to live without constant financial pressure. Kareem wanted those same things. Almost everybody does. But wanting something is not enough. You have to build toward it, slowly, month by month, year by year. That is what most people miss. Wealth is usually not built in one big moment. It is built in small decisions repeated over and over again. Saving a little more, spending a little less, avoiding unnecessary debt, starting earlier, staying consistent. Those simple choices may not feel important today, but after 20 or 30 years, they can completely change a person's life. That is why the gap between Daniel and Kareem became so large. Not because one of them was lucky, not because one of them was a genius, because one of them stayed consistent. One of them kept putting money aside. One of them gave his future a chance, and in the end, that made all the difference. The truth is, most people still have time. Maybe not as much time as they wish they had, but enough time to do something. Enough time to start. Enough time to change direction. Because the biggest mistake is not being behind. The biggest mistake is knowing you are behind and still doing nothing about it.